शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the Geeta. We are seeing the 20th shloka number 20 of third chapter, that is the Karma Yoga. And that shloka is Karmanaiva hi samsiddhimasthita janakadayah lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. So this is a very interesting shloka which is talking about Janaka and other Rajarshis. I was telling about what is called a Rajarshi. Rajarshi is an important concept which Krishna is going to say in 4th chapter. I will just tell in brief. Rajarshi is, he is also the king, he is also a Rishi. Rajanascha te Rishayascha. That is, they are kings, at the same time they are equal to Rishis because they are also realized persons. And Brahmagyanam is not the preserve of some people. Brahmagyanam is not the preserve of Brahmins, or Brahmagyanam is not the preserve of certain Rishis only. Because if we see Upanishads, in fact the Brahmagyanam was originally with the Kshatriyas. If we see the Upanishads, the students, they go from a Brahmana family, they go to a Kshatriya, and that Raja, he tells him what is the reality. So what is that supreme reality? So Brahmagyanam is not the preserve of anybody. Anybody can be a Jnani. For Jnana, every human being has that eligibility to become a Jnani. So okay, that apart. So this karma, the Rajarshi, it is like that. That is a philosopher king. In fact, if you see the Western philosophy and then the entire structure, Plato was a great philosopher, Greek philosopher. He wrote a book called The Republic. And in that republic, he projected an ideal state. It is only a fictional, it is only a sort of visualization of an ideal state. And in that visualization, he says that an ideal state should be ruled by a philosopher king. But in the Western society, it was only an ideal which was never realized in practice. But in India, if we see, our books, they give so many examples of all these rishis, all these rajarshis who lived such saintly lives. All the people who lived such very, very saintly lives, like Vishwamitra, not only Vishwamitra, Satya Harishchandra, etc. And all these people were like Ashwapati. In the commentary, the commentators, they give several names of all these Rajarshis who lived such very, very saintly lives, who were realized persons. So what is told here is, in spite of karma, karmanaiva, not through karma they attained moksha. I told you yesterday also, karma does not directly lead to moksha. Karma leads you to chitta shuddhi, that is purification of mind, which is the primary requisite for that next level called jnana. So karmanaiva hi samsiddhimasthita means, in spite of karma, along with karma, karmana eva, that is what they say, that is along with karma they attained moksha. Then basically the point is, karma is not an obstacle for jnana, because when a jnani performs a karma, it becomes almost zero. Karma becomes akarma. We are also going to get that word called akarma. There are certain technical words in the Gita where unless we note down then and there, we forget about them. So akarma is a concept in the Gita. A jnani performs a karma, that becomes akarma in the sense that it does not give that punyam papam to the doer. So because here there is no sense of doership. For the jnani there is no ego, there is no I. It is only when I have that notion of I am the doer. When I don't have that notion of I am not the doer. So when I am not a doer, then there is no karma phala. So for the jnani, who is by virtue of his prarabdha means, prarabdha again is a very technical word. Sometimes we use that word in a very, very wrong way. Oh, this is my prarabdham. We say, this is my prarabdham, oh, this is my fate, something like that. Prarabdha does not mean fate. Prarabdha means, it refers to a particular type of karma which has caused this present birth. Because every action, every karma phala, it has to give result. So for this birth which we have taken now, the particular karma has given rise. Particular karma is a cause for this particular life. So that karma which is causatory for this particular life is called prarabdha karma. So that is a technical word. By virtue of their prarabdha, because this man was a king, Janaka is a king, his prarabdha is that he is a king, and it does not bar him from becoming a jnani. A king, the virtue, by being a king, it is no bar for him to become a jnani. So he is a king, and by virtue of his prarabdha, he has also to discharge certain kingly duties, all the royal duties. He has to, all the kingly duties means he has to administer his kingdom, and he has to punish the bad people, he has to reward the good people, and he has to do so many other things as a king, so many other welfare activities, etc., as a king. So, all those things he has to do, and he does without that notion of I. So, when he does all these things without that notion of ego, when the ego is totally zero, then all those actions, they become zero, all those actions, they do not give any punyam or papam to him. There is no question of punyam or papam for any action done by a jnani. So, that is the point here. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhi masthita. Samsiddhi means attainment. Sadhanam is a means. Sadhyam is something which can be achieved. Siddhi means that is attainment. So, this is siddhi is attainment. Samsiddhi means what is that attainment? Finally, they are getting moksha. Finally, they are getting moksha means how? There is a question here. The commentators have made an interesting discussion. When we say karmanaiva hi samsiddhima sthita janaka etc., they achieved moksha through karma etc. What does it mean? Were they jnanis or were they karma yogis? If they were jnanis, why were they doing karma? And if they were karma yogis, what does it mean? So, there is a discussion. If they were really jnanis, they were doing karma for loka sangrahartham. The commentators have written loka sangrahartham prarabdha karmatvat karmana sahaiva. Karmana sahaiva means along with karma. Karma was not an obstacle for them. Loka sangrahartham. Loka sangraha means what? Sangraha means, what does sangraha means? Sangraha means collecting so many things together. We have a word called sangrahalai, puravastu sangrahalai. What is sangrahalai? Sangrahalai is some sort of a place where all things are collected. It can be a museum. Puravastu sangrahalai refers to a museum. So, sangraha means collecting. Loka sangraha means what? Collecting the society, keeping the society intact, keeping all the people together. That is keeping the people together. It should start with family sangraha nowadays. In fact, nowadays all the families are also getting broken. So, we should know how to keep the family together. So, family sangraha, loka sangraha, kutumba sangraha, then again loka sangraha. Loka sangraha is keeping the society together. For keeping the society together, a good man has to perform certain ideal activities. A king, an ideal king, an enlightened king, let us say, an enlightened king has to perform certain ideal actions so that the society is together. And the king, suppose he has got his own favorites, he encourages certain sections of the people and he discourages some other sections of the people. Then there are some people who are always discontented. So, when there is discontent, naturally there is some turmoil, naturally there will be no great social order. There may be they may be suppressed for some time, but people cannot be suppressed for all times. So, loka sangraha means there should be an emotional unity. For example, our country is there. Our country, how is the country together? Country is together because of so much of army, so much of police and all that. Okay. But then, if there is so much of internal difference within the minds of the people, suppose I go to some place and immediately that in that place I am either the insider or outsider. Suppose there are such groups are there. When there is no emotional unity, when there is no such unity, then all this show of this army, police and all these things, they will be of not much use. When there is a situation, maybe all these things can erupt and they can divide the loka. Loka means the society. When they divide, in our case, suppose the country, let us say. So, any ruler, any enlightened ruler should perform such actions which will not unnecessarily encourage some people, which will not encourage militancy, and which will keep, he has to be equal to all the people. So, any ruler should be very, very just, judicious, equal to all the people. So, a king has to perform in that way. So, the discussion is if they were jnanis, they were doing loka sangrahartham prarabdha karmatvat in order to keep the society together. It is not only a king who can do action for a karma, for loka sangraha, all of us can do action for loka sangraha, Krishna is going to say later. So, the second possibility is if they are not jnanis, if he is already a jnani, he is doing for the sake of keeping society together, loka sangrahartham, as a sort of role model for all the people. If he is not a jnani, then why was he doing? For chitta shuddhi. So, that is sattva shuddhi, that is antahkarana shuddhi. For the sake of this antahkarana shuddhi, they were doing this karma. So, this debate in this under this shloka, it goes like that. But finally, Krishna gives, the commentators give an impression that Janaka was a wise man. Janaka was a jnani. Janaka was a jnani, and in spite of being a jnani, he was performing all the actions. So here what we find is that karma is not an obstacle for jnanam, and a jnani, it is not mandated that he should not do karma. In fact, later Krishna is going to say that jnani, if he is a grihastha, if he is a sannyasi, he may not, his karma may be different. That is going around and parivrajaka, dharma prachara, etc. But if he is a family man, if he is a grihasthashrama, if he is in grihasthashrama, he has to do all that dharma, he has to follow dharma. So, loka sangraha is really a great concept. The second line here says, loka sangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. So, Krishna is telling, if you are a jnani, okay, see people like Janaka, etc., though they were jnanis, they were doing karma. And if you are not a jnani, even if you are a jnani, if you think that no, jnani need not do karma, you have to do karma because you can do karma because loka sangraham evapi sampashyan, even for the sake of loka sangraha, even for the sake of society, for keeping the society together, for establishing dharma, you have to do karma. So that is what he is saying, loka sangraham evapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. So this concept of loka sangraha, if you just think about it, it is really interesting. Most of us, what is our contribution to society? Most of the people, suppose we find thousands and thousands of retired people, for example, and some of them are highly educated, some of them are highly accomplished, they may be very senior bureaucrats and very great people who know lot many things in the society and who can do a lot, who can guide the society to a great extent. But unfortunately, they still, most of the people, they try to work for money, till they become pretty old and then totally dilapidated. Till that time they want to do some job and then they want to make money. So is it something which is exemplary? So loka sangraha, anybody, not only retired persons, anybody, not only the senior bureaucrats, etc., even an ordinary man, a retired teacher can also do some work. A retired teacher can get hold of some kids and then he can keep imparting his knowledge to them. Any old man can definitely impart some knowledge to the young people. So like that, every citizen, all citizens can definitely do some exemplary work because we waste so much of time. What do the senior citizens do? Senior citizens read all types of newspapers, or nowadays the internet is there and then we browse the internet and we see all types of things. And if you read any newspaper, that newspaper gives so much of cynicism, puts so much of cynicism in the mind. That is, oh, everybody in the world is villainous, everybody in the world is so bad, everything in the world is so bad, there is no good in the society. So that is the impression we get. And also simultaneously we also get a notion, I am highly virtuous, all other people are bad, I am highly virtuous. So there is a sense of self-righteousness. The newspaper man who is writing it, an article, who writes an article, he condemns everybody and incidentally praises himself, he is the cleanest man. So we also get a feeling we are the cleanest people. So that is something we are mostly wasting our time. So what we have to do is we have to discard all these newspapers. We have to discard newspapers and all of us can definitely identify a positive goal. All of us, anybody can identify a positive goal. Anybody who is physically fit can identify a positive goal. And in fact in Mahabharata, repeatedly this thing is told. Repeatedly, the inaction of intelligent people, the inaction of the enlightened people is something which is condemned in Mahabharata. For example, in the episode where the Draupadi was disrobed, Draupadi, we know that famous episode where the Pandavas, they lose that game of dice, and after they lose the game of dice, that Duryodhana asks Dushasana to come to bring that Draupadi, and Dushasana drags her to the court. And at that time, all the eminent people are there, very wise people like Bhishma, Drona, Krupacharya, all the people are there. And all the people, they were just silent. So that is the silence of the intelligent people in the society when something is going wrong, when adharma is taking place. That is something which is seriously condemned repeatedly in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata is all about dharma. So there Krishna, when he again goes as a messenger, he says, Yatra dharmo hyadharmena, satyam yatra anrutena cha. That is, when dharma is being assailed by adharma, and when truth is being assailed by untruth, satyam yatra anrutena cha, when truth is being attacked or suppressed by untruth, and satyam yatra anrutena cha, hanyate prekshamananam hatastatra sabhasadah. And all the onlookers, the intelligent onlookers, the people who are capable of intervening, the people who are capable of setting it right, if they do not act, even they will perish. Then they will also perish along, because dharma again will restore. Dharma will again restore, and they will see, dharma sees that all these people they perish. So Krishna again warns them when he goes as a messenger. So like that, the silence of the intelligent people or silence of the intellectuals is something which is very, very harmful to society. So here Krishna is saying, Loka Sangraham evapi sampashyan. You keep in mind that Loka Sangraha, that concept of Loka Sangraha. Your job is to do that. If you are a jnani, okay, as a jnani also you can do. If you are not a jnani, for chitta shuddhi you can do. Loka Sangraham evapi sampashyan. Then the next shloka, it is in continuation. In continuation, he says that people, basically human beings are all imitative in nature. We all see so many celebrities, we see all heroes, etc., and we follow lot many people. Right from our childhood, there is some in our childhood, there is some hero in our mind, and after gradually when you gradually grow, the concept of greatness changes. For example, if you just ask a small kid, what do you want to become? He says, I will become a truck driver. So because truck driver is one man who appears very, very manly and very, very powerful for him. So then he slightly grows up. Suppose he goes to the school of some school, and then he studies some mathematics or physics. Then he may feel, okay, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer. And then again, okay, after some time he may say, I want to become a scientist, I want to become that, maybe I want to become a politician, maybe I want to become a great player of football, if you are inclined to that. So a human being is always imitative in nature. So when great people do not perform some exemplary activities, they are not setting a right example, they are not becoming the role models. So you have to become a role model, because unless good people become the role models, then people will have only bad role models. People will only follow some sort of all types of celebrities who are actually zeros in their personal lives and leading some miserable personal lives, and these people also follow them, and these people also end up in misery. So that is the point. So this next shloka, that is 21st shloka, Krishna is giving it is a very famous shloka, quite often quoted. Yadyad acharati shrestha tattadevetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. Yadyad acharati shrestha. Shrestha means an eminent person in society. Whatever he or she does, tattad eva itaro janah, other people, they tend to imitate. So people basically, they look for what the boss is doing. If the boss is good, naturally the office will be good. If the king is good, if the ruler is good at the helm of affairs, naturally all other people will, at least their the potential for evil will be reduced. So people try to imitate, people try to see and then learn from them. In fact, this happens in so many angles. For example, we imitate celebrities in their dress. For example, you see a film hero. That film hero is having a particular, there is a particular fashion statement. So the student or the young man also, he follows that fashion statement. And some other heroine wears some minis or midis. So naturally all the girls, they will also try to wear some mini skirts. So that becomes a fashion statement. So that fashion statement is a new word nowadays. So like that we tend to imitate, and sometimes we also imitate the West. And of course we unnecessarily blame the West also, because there are so many good things in the West. Unfortunately, we don't pick up the good qualities in the West from the West. Suppose we see, if you just see the Western society, the moment a person achieves maybe 18 or so, he wants to be independent, he or she wants to be independent. They will try to earn. They will not spend their father's money and then enjoy. So, and if they wear some shorts, etc., probably it is there in their culture. And in spite of wearing shorts, they are not loose moral as we see. They also have some principles. They do have some principles. We don't pick up their hard work, their nature. Suppose the young man who is studying in a school, he also goes to a hotel and works as a server. How many of us go to a shoe shop? A friend of mine who is in US, his son, he was working in a shoe shop. And I was wondering why your son has to work in a shoe shop. So that is basically, there is no question of ego. There is that dignity of labor, what we call dignity of labor is there. So there are certain virtues. This boy is going and working in the shoe shop, and then he is working in that company, and then not necessarily putting on shoes, etc., but he is serving all those people, and that is also there. That is also gives a credit to him. So a person, he earns while he is also learning. We don't pick up such qualities. Our people, they go to pubs, etc., spend their father's money, and again we see lot many young people getting drunk with their parents' money. So this is what this sort of imitation is something which is disastrous. So this sort of imitation, because we are unnecessarily blaming the West. Sometimes I feel that we unnecessarily blame the West without picking up the good qualities. We only pick up the bad qualities. So here Krishna is saying a Shrestha, an eminent person in the society, has to perform duty in such a way that he will become a role model for all others. We will continue tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.